Theatre, and for those of you watching online, let's go ahead and all get started with our opening song. Once again, good morning and welcome. So this morning, Gideon, Cynthia, is going to be our communication link going forward for those of you that are online watching. We are so grateful to have you here. Please reach out to Cynthia and say good morning and let us know how you're doing. First timers attending online, please say hello and where you're from and how you found us in the chat. So let's go ahead and get started as we are continuing in our minister search. We have our profile and invitational video available for review on the CSL Minister Listserv. We're starting to receive resumes and we'll have more information to share if they pass the interview process. In the meantime, let us all join in saying our new minister's sacred, easy prayer together. We'll be on, there it is. There is only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to glorify God, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of God as love. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by God, for it is written, I dwell in the house of love. Love attends me in my home of the soul. I shall never leave this home of the spirit. I shall abide in this home forevermore. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister before me as revealing the truth and the power of love. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself, for I am powerfully expressing divine love, inspiring all to do the same. I am blessing and honoring all paths of spirituality, awakening deeper truths and spiritual growth. I am a place where God shows up, expressing divine love, allowing truth and joy to heal all. I am embracing and teaching and exploring spiritual truths from diverse spiritual teachings. I am teaching and embodying prosperity, trusting that God is the source of my good. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they will be revealed in a way that will glorify God and serve the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful. God is gracious. Amen. So now we're going to go ahead and move into our announcements. These are just a few reminders of what's happening. For detailed information about the following events, please check out our website, our Facebook pages, Eventbrite, and the meetup pages. So Monday, 12/19 is our Healers and Hunters men's group, and that is between 6:30 and 8:30. Please join practitioner Dave Pennick and Jim Munson for a Genesis men's group. The mission is for men to get together, connect, and share what is going on in their lives. If you're interested in joining, please see Dave Pennick or Jim Munson. And Dave is here today if you would like to get additional information. And exciting news to share. We have found a new space. And our first service there will be February 5th. This is back in Burien. It's at a location called Studio 620. And if you want information on addresses and everything else, that will be shared as we go forward on each Sunday, and that will be available on all of our web pages and that, so that we can all be there to share in the excitement of a new space. And then every Wednesday, please join practitioners Cynthia Zink and Karen Williams for their intention circles, and that is at 7 p.m. And this is a great space to come and get support in your life, to really help get those intentions showing up, being visible. So if you'd like more information, again, it's behind me, and a love offering is always appreciated. And if you'd like to join a care circle and you're not in one now and you'd like more information, please contact Karen Williams via Facebook or at Carco, or you could also ask Cynthia or myself for additional information on how you could get involved. So first timers, is there anyone attending Genesis either in person or online? Yes, good morning. Would you mind sharing your name?
My name is Mary.
Mary? Well, welcome, Mary. We're so glad to have you. How did you find us?
I think I've been searching for a new spiritual.
Oh, nice.
So I think I was and I've gone to assign to my church before in Arizona.
Oh, perfect, perfect. Well, we're very excited to have you here. Nice to meet you. Nobody online. Okay, well, we're so happy to have everybody that is online as well. Any other newcomers, first-timers, willing to share their name? Yes, good morning.
Alan.
Alan, nice to meet you.
This is Archer.
Hi, Archer, welcome, welcome. First time, how'd you find us?
Oh, we know Mike. I know Mike.
You know Mike, well, welcome. Mike's a great guy to know, absolutely. We couldn't do this every Sunday without him. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
So before we get started, does anybody need a prayer card or an envelope this morning? We will be using them as we go through the service. If so, please raise your hand, and Beth will be bringing those around. Oh, Gideon will be bringing those around. We're doing some moving and shaking this morning with personnel, so it's all good. So we look like everybody's got what they need. That's wonderful. So I'd like to take this moment to thank our volunteers because there is no way we could do what we do on Sundays without the people that are here helping to greet everyone and do everything that we do. So let's go ahead and start by thanking practitioner Cynthia Zink. She is our volunteer coordinator. She is the gal that you see at the front table as you come in, a great resource for any questions that you may have. And Soren is running our sound, making us all sound marvelous, and our lights. And then there's Michael Johns, as I said, running our camera and our projector behind us. And then Gideon this morning is doing our ushering and collecting our prayers and our gifts later in the service. And then, as I mentioned before, Cynthia is our communication link watching online. So let's give all those volunteers a nice little hand. And then today our practitioner is Randy Singer. And Randy led a meditation before service. If you missed it, it will remain on Facebook for 30 days and is now on YouTube. So please, if you've missed that and you want a little bit of that quiet inner guidance support, please go online and check out Randy's meditation. Randy will also be available after service if you'd like, an additional prayer support, whether it be you're wanting more good in your life or if there's something you'd like to release. So, now that the business is out of the way, let's go ahead and center ourselves into our opening song. Performed by Second Shot, and it looks like we might get some assistance by Joan Penny. Exciting. So let us all go ahead and stand up and sing our song.
Out beyond ideas of right and wrong, there's a field. I'll meet you there. Out beyond ideas of right and wrong, there's a field. I'll meet you there. Out beyond ideas of right and wrong, there's a field. I'll meet you there. Out beyond ideas of right and wrong, there's a field. I'll meet you there. A field of love, a field of forgiveness, a field that passes understanding. Out beyond ideas of right and wrong, there's a field. I'll meet you there. Out beyond ideas of right and wrong, there's a field. I'll meet you there. Out beyond ideas of right and wrong, there's a field. I'll meet you there. A field of love, a field of forgiveness, a peace that passes understanding. Out beyond ideas of right and wrong, there's a field. I'll meet you there. There's a field. I'll meet you there.
Good morning. My name is Randy Singer, and I am a practitioner here at Genesis. So I will be doing a reading, and then we will go into prayer. This is from Living the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes, and I will be reading today from page 169, You Have Dominion. And I was just, we were talking in home group about what our theme for the year might be, and I came up with the word dominion, and so here it is. With an understanding of this science, fear should disappear, and with direct application of this principle to your problems, you will discover that they will begin to seem less insistent. Begin to act as though you already had dominion over evil, as though all fear were a phantom, and though everything you have been afraid of were unreal. Declare the truth by saying there is nothing to be afraid of, that you are no longer entertaining any images of fear, that good is the only power there is, and that this good, which is the only power there is now operating in your affairs. Know that good is omnipotent. Know that the truth instantly, effectively, and permanently destroys every fear and every effect of fear. Know that you are governed by infinite intelligence. Know that you are directed by divine guidance, and that you are compelled to think and act constructively. Therefore, you may now know that everything you do, say, or think carries it in a divine authority. Also with it, freedom already exists, but your freedom is your own thought. Hence, it is not enough to say God is free, which is, of course, a true statement, but the statement must be made personal. The freedom of God is my freedom. The power of God is my power. The presence of God is in me. The mind of God is my mind. The strength of God is my strength. And the joy of God is my joy.
Yeah.
So let's take that within us, because we are connected to that one spirit, that one life, that one presence, and it is good. So take this moment right here and right now. Close your eyes if that works for you. And we know right here and right now that each of us is that highest expression of that one life, that powerful dominion we have over our existence, our awareness, and our affairs, and our relationships, and everything. And I know right here and right now, and I declare that life is good. That my life is good, your life is good. Everyone has that opportunity to have that experience and know it is rolling out perfectly, and it is good, and each of us has that opportunity to say, I choose right here and right now that this is my intention and this is the way I live, and it is good because I said. And I released it into the action of the law, knowing that it is already happening, it is in action, and it is perfect. And I say, and so it is.
So it is.
And now, we will be blessed by the sounds of Second Shot and John Penny.
good morning, everyone. I just want to mention for the newcomers that I'm serving as the interim minister as we are looking for a new one. And when I became the transitioning minister, the interim minister, I set 3 intentions. And one was that during my time in this position, Genesis would get a new space, Genesis would get a new minister, and Genesis would have more money than when I started. And so when we move next month, beginning next month, to the space in Burien, that's the first intention fulfilled. And so I'm very excited about that, and I want everyone to know that in the new space we will have coffee during the service. Very Northwest. Okay, and I also want to just give a shout out to everybody who came to the wonderful intention setting workshop that we did yesterday. It was so great, and it was a fundraiser for moving into the new space because we'll change some equipment around a little bit. And I know we'll get a report at some point how much money was raised, but it was really great. All the proceeds are going into that, so that was good. Okay, so this theme this month is New Year, New Beginnings, and my talk title is New Means Different. And while you were doing your wonderful opening, Randy, all of a sudden I just had this image of the sweep of life on planet Earth. You know, millions and millions and millions of years ago, this thing that we're on was just a bunch of burning chemicals, really. And at some miraculous point after a long period of time, microbes began to exist, and then multicellular animals, and then there was amphibious animals, and then there was land animals, and it kind of wound up with us. And it's been a long time in the making. And I guess my invitation to you is just to be thinking about how there's just been a long process of the evolution of life, how long that has really been, and how change has occurred. And sometimes we experience change as quick, you know, the clouds part and the light comes down and the light bulb goes on and you get a new idea, or you get an inspiration, you get a vision, something happens and change is instantaneous and deep. And other times it's really so incremental and so tiny that you don't really notice. One day you look at the child that you've been living with and you're like, oh, you're at a different point of life. Right? You see them every day, and suddenly you look at them and you're like, oh, you're growing. And another analogy I had for this is the difference between the 9 months in the womb. So we're 9 months in the womb, and we're in a womb, and we're in an amniotic sac, and we're in the fluid, and we're rapidly changing. I mean, we all start out as 2 cells that come together, and over 9 months, we go through this whole thing, which I understand imitates the whole evolution of life. Like at one point we have a tail and we have gills, and it's all in there, right? And so like in 9 months, each of us is reiterating the whole evolution of life on planet Earth. And it's very gradual, and we're just sort of in there, and then all of a sudden, you know, boom, you shoot out, and that's a big, huge change. So it's like little slow changes and big changes. But all of it is change. And the point I want to make is, it's my observation and my understanding that is in terms of the material world, change is the constant. Everything is constantly changing. You may notice it, you may not notice it. You may like the change, you may not like the change. You may agree with the change, you may be excited about the change, you may resent the change, you may be completely opposed to change. But change is happening. That's what's going on. And the ability, and so now I'm going to kind of get to my point. The ability to adapt quickly to change, the ability to flow with change, the ability to meet change, the ability to stay faithful in the midst of change is what helps make your experience of life great, or at least bearable. So, I want to talk about 3 businesses, because this plays out not only in the life of individuals, but also in business. And the ability to adapt quickly to change is one of the surest predictors of success in business. And I just heard this thing about General Electric. Now, General Electric was started by Thomas Alva Edison when he was busy inventing the light bulb after 110 tries. And he wanted to capture some of the profit and the benefit from that. Started General Electric, and they started out making electric light bulbs and all the stuff you need to make them work. And now General Electric has sold off all of the divisions of the business, and all that's left of the original General Electric is the part that makes airplane parts. That's an evolution from light bulbs to this thing. So one example is Netflix. Remember the age of DVD rental, okay? Originally, founded in 1997 by CEO Reed Hastings, Netflix started its life mailing DVDs to customers, which when it started was like a radical idea and now seems incredibly quaint. It's right up there with horseshoes, right? It's right up there with horseshoes and cold delivery and milk bottles by the milkman coming to your door. Okay. Now, with over 109 million subscribers worldwide, it's hard to imagine not watching video on demand. Back in 2001, Hastings had the vision to stream movies of the internet direct to our screens, and for 10 years he experimented with this idea. 10 years, and got customers used to the idea of streaming rather than playing with actual DVDs, using physical DVDs. And not only did he make that innovation and was ahead of the curve, but he also initiated the business of Netflix producing its own content. And now Netflix is right up there with all the major movie studios competing for all these awards and producing all kinds of great content. And that, originally was just, we're going to mail people DVDs so they can watch movies at home, and it's become this other thing. Another example I want to give is Yellow Pages. Another thing that seems incredibly quaint, right? Yellow Pages, like big, huge books that you either got delivered once a year to your house, or that was in another quaint thing which was called a telephone booth, right? I had a friend, as a matter of fact, my friend Sherry Dolly just told me that she had a very hard time finding an alarm clock in a store, because who uses alarm clocks? Because we all have phones. Okay, so the iconic publication was once a vital lifeline for households across the country. The telephone directory provided names, numbers, and addresses of businesses for 50 years. And in 2017, CEO Richard Hanscott announced the company's plan to stop printing. So think about it, your business, and your business for over 50 years is printing these big books. And you're the CEO and you say, guess what? We're going to stop printing the books. You have to change and adapt to survive. And I'm hoping that while I'm talking about these big old businesses, you're thinking about elements of your own life. Because we all need to adapt in order to be with the flow of all these changes. Hanscott has transformed the business model while retaining Yellow Pages' integrity by providing customers with the same service, but in a different format. So as in business, so in life, and I believe the phrase is adapt or die. Adapt or die. We had a great intention setting workshop yesterday, and I thank everyone who participated and set it up. And I want to testify that new year means different year. This is a different year. It's a different time. It's a different time in your life. Things are changing. And my understanding about New Thought is that you are a participant in that change. You are an active participant in the flow of change in your life. And if we take Ernest Holmes' What We Believe really seriously, there is that line, we believe in the control of conditions. We believe in the control of conditions, and we believe in the healing of the sick through the power of this mind or the laws of the spiritual life. And so it's a question of how much do you want to be in the driver's seat, partnering with Spirit to chart the direction you're going in and what your experience of life is going to be. Now, intend is not always the same thing as absolute control. Intend also can mean to guide, to focus, to create possibilities, or to set up trend lines. And sometimes intentions have a way of not only creating new realities, of manifesting to the letter. So maybe you will set intentions and you'll create a plan and everything will go brilliantly and perfectly according to plan. And that can be great. For me personally, I actually like some planning and some surprise. I'm very interested in the project of having the best possible experience of life that I possibly can to do the most good for the most number of people. Amen? Amen. So I want to do the most good for the most number of people, and I want to have the best time that I possibly can, and I make no apology for that being my agenda of life. Okay? And so I want to be involved in creating things, and I also am very welcoming of the unexpected. I don't want to have total control over everything. I mean, you know, you do not read an Agatha Christie whodunit to know on the first page who did it. You do not watch a rom-com to know in the first 5 seconds that they love each other and will be together forever. That would defeat the purpose of watching a rom-com. You do not watch a war movie to know exactly how everything worked out and who won and all that. We are here for surprise and adventure as well as the unfoldment. I've often done vision boards, and so I want to give an example of a powerful thing that happened in my life. I was a confirmed bachelor from age 20 to 40, and then I hit 40 and I was like, ooh, I've done single, maybe I want to try married. You know, I don't want to end up alone. It was great, but like, okay. So I made a vision board about having a relationship. And I found this fantastic photograph, and it's 2 men who are twins, identical twins, and they're holding each other at the waist, and they're leaning back and they're laughing. And it's just the most joyful, just fantastic image. And it was like, that's what I want to experience in my relationship. And it wasn't very long after that I met Ken, and next month we're celebrating 27 years together, and we have an extremely happy marriage, and it looks really like that photo. And I went to the basement yesterday to try and find that vision board, but I think I let it go, or I would have shown you the picture. But it's just a fantastic picture. And what I want to say for people who are in the business of, or on the project of creating relationship, really focus on how you want to feel, not how the person looks. Because there was a period when I was looking for, a long time when I was looking for relationships when it was all about how they looked. And I had some crazy good looking boyfriends. They were good looking and crazy. Right? It's about how it feels. It's about how being with the person makes you feel. That's what it's about. I'm a big fan of intention setting because actually I do it all the time. I do it by second nature. I've had a job in New Thought for over 25 years now, and I certainly don't know everything about New Thought. I'm certainly not the poster child for New Thought, but I do live this teaching. I really do live this teaching. So often, as I am approaching a vacation or a trip, I'm really creating intentions for the trip. I'm creating, how do I want to feel about this trip? And what are the things that I would like to have happen on this trip? So I'll give an example. And I just want to say to you, when you're packing for the trip is a great time to think about the trip and visualize things that you want to experience on the trip, including how you feel and what would happen. So, last fall, I was invited by the Rogue Valley CSL, which is near Ashland, Oregon, to come down. And their original invitation was they wanted me to do a workshop for their leadership. Okay, and I was like, great. And they said, oh, and while you're here, you could speak on Sunday. And I said, oh, great. And I said, you know what else I'd love to do? I'd love to do a workshop for the congregation right after the service on Sunday. So it was going to be these three things, right? And then I thought, okay, how do I want this to go? I want the plane ride to be fun. I want to have a great time seeing my good friend Linda Rapon, whose house I'm going to stay in. I want to have a great time connecting with the co-ministers of this congregation. I really want to enjoy with them. I want the workshop on Saturday with the leadership to be perfect and last the exact right amount of time and give them everything that they need as leadership. And then I want to have a great dinner on Saturday, and then I want to see a great show at the Shakespeare Festival, and then I want to have total fun in the Sunday service, and I want to really enjoy giving my talk, and I want people to get excited and interested while I'm talking, and I want the music to be great because, you know, music is so important, thank you. And then I want the workshop after the service to be packed, and I want it to last exactly as long as I told them, because I'm a big believer in if you say 90 minutes, you better do 90 minutes and not 2.5 hours, right? And you all know when I do a workshop, we do not waste time. It is like boom, 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 boom. Nobody's time is wasted, including mine. So what happened? The flight down was great, the time with Linda was great, the food was great, the play was great, the workshop was great. The workshop was, on Saturday workshop was just what they needed. Sunday service was just fantastic, and I actually said some things I'd never heard before or said before, and people were so energized that the workshop was packed, and the two ministers just couldn't believe it. We can't get people to stick around after the service, and the room was just full. They kept having to put more chairs out, which is really a great feeling. And it was exactly the right amount of time, and that's how that went. And I do this kind of thing. I don't plan it out quite as fully when I am doing a vacation because I don't want to work that hard. But I do think about, you know, what are my goals, or what am I going to do on this trip? You know, leave some leeway, but also have some ideas. So I also, you know, each day, I do think a bit about, you know, well, what I got going on today, and how do I feel about what I got going on. I have been keeping a journal for a while. I haven't always been a journal keeper, but I was so grateful that I keep a journal, because before the workshop yesterday, I had to go back through my journals to remember what happened last year before I did this because part of the intention workshop is reviewing the year before. And I'm now 67. I don't remember anything about how long. Oh yeah, that happened. Oh, I did that. So I'm really grateful I keep a journal. Life does have a way of throwing curveballs. And one thing I know for sure, that when change is coming too hard or too fast, it's spiritual practice, which moves me into conscious connection with the divine and helps me weather the upsets caused by sudden or dramatic changes. And the image, the metaphor I want to give you is a carousel. So you got a carousel, and this is the part that goes around. But the whole carousel works because there's a post in the middle that is stable and does not move. You have to have the part in the middle that doesn't move in order for this part to happen. And this is spirit. Spirit is the everlasting invisible, that is the unseen, that is never changing, and yet is always expanding. So we are beings that exist in a cosmology or a universe in which everything is constantly changing and the thing behind it never changes. So if the changes that you're experiencing are too hard, too fast, too much, too scary, too painful, too much of a setback, then you need to move your consciousness to the thing in the center, which isn't changing. which is never changing. And what's never changing about the thing itself is that it adores you. The thing about the thing in the center is that it's all powerful and has the answer and has the healing and has the supply and has whatever you need to go through the changes, to bear the changes, to flow with the changes, to accept the changes, to prosper through the changes. I had been a music director for Center for Spiritual Living for 14 years, and it was great. It was really great. It was such a great experience. When I started, there were 500 people on a Sunday, and when I left, there were 1,300 people on a Sunday. 1,300 people on a Sunday, and the choir went from 4 people to 100 people. And I quit because I was called to become a minister. And, you know, there was a lot of me that was like, yeah, I'm going to be a minister. And then every once in a while I'd be driving around in my car, and I'd go, what have I done? This was the best job with benefits I'd ever had. I had a total community. You know, the choir was a community of 100 people, and we've been together for years. And I left all that to become a minister and start my own congregation. And there were days when it was really scary. And I developed an affirmation. And I would shout this affirmation in the car. I was by myself, so it was okay. I command the law to prosper me into my greater yet to be. Because I started to create a scenario in which it took a while and I didn't get a salary and my finances went down and I had to rely on my husband to keep food on the table, and I was picturing this sort of collapse before. And I was like, I think there's something better. I command the law to prosper me into my greater yet to be. And I was called to speak it with a great deal of passion. I have to tell you something that I read while I was on vacation that was so incredible. Okay, what is Donald Trump's favorite movie? What is the movie that he watches over and over and over again? That is his favorite movie. Sunset Boulevard. Now, for those of you that don't know, Sunset Boulevard, which came out in 1950, is about an aging silent movie star who is a total has-been. She lives in this mansion, and she lives this dusty, deluded reality in which any day now she's going to have her comeback. It's the movie about a total has-been. And a screenwriter running from the police comes onto her property. She brings him in, she seduces him, starts a relationship with him, and then gets a call from Cecil B. DeMille, the great theater director, and she's like, this is my moment. He's calling me to let me be in a new movie. I'm coming back bigger than ever, and the reason he's calling is because he wants to borrow one of her cars. She goes to the studio. She thinks this is like, you know, and at some level it's revealed, or at some point it's revealed that they just want her car and not her. And in the end, she shoots the guy, the screenwriter. And at the end, when the police come to take her away in the final scene, which is Donald Trump's favorite scene, she's at the top of the stairs and she's like, yes, let's go make more movies. It's all about all the little people out there in the dark. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille. Spooky! Spooky. And I cannot help but think that there is something being created consciously or totally unconsciously. He can't possibly think, oh, I hope this happens to me. And yet, if this is his favorite movie and it's the thing that he's watching over and over and over and over, I will not be surprised if he winds up like Norma Desmond. So what I have to ask you is, what is the story that you are telling? What is the movie, what is the screenplay that you are creating? For any incident or aspect of your life, or for the whole thing? Is it a rom-com? Is it a tragedy? Is it a zombie movie? Is it a shoot-'em-up? Is it a crime thriller? Right? Is it a small character, independent character film? Is it rags to riches? Is it riches to rags? You've got some story that you are creating because each of us, is a creative being. This is what you're doing. And you're doing it all the time. You're doing it when you're waking, and you're doing it when you're asleep. The story is unfolding. You are in your own piece of a never-ending story. And what my invitation to you is become conscious of it. What would Donald Trump's life be like if he asked himself, why do I love Sunset Boulevard so much? And why do I love this ending scene of a has-been being carted away by the police? Why do I love that so much? I read this account, and he's like, when he watches the movie constantly, and when it comes to that scene, he's like, oh, look at this is the best thing. It's like, really? Is it? Are you sure? Something to think about. This could be you. There's always a better story. The funny thing about movie making and TV making is, well, especially in movies, the power is in the director. In theater, the power is with the playwright, because you don't change the script. You must legally do what the playwright has written. But in movie making, the screenplay is just a rough blueprint, and the final thing can look very different than what the screenwriter says. So you get to, as the director of the story of your life, you get to change the script. What's your script? I'm unloved, I'm unworthy. What's your script? Life is hard. Men are violent, women are manipulative. Black people are, white people are. What's your script? It's your beliefs. What's your script? Is it working for you? Is there something better? Because you get to change it. Resisting change, so I'm going to come back to change. Resisting change or denying change or disparaging change is very human and often a complete waste of energy. I tell you the story by Osho, the spiritual teacher Osho, and he says there's two straws and they're floating down the river. And one straw is going with the current and the other straw is positioned itself against the current, is trying to hold the current back. And both straws wind up in exactly the same place. What would it take for you to be liberated from your complaints? Or taken another way, are you really sure that you want a life with no problems? Would a life of no problems, no obstacles, no struggles whatsoever, are you sure that that would be the best life? Because people complain constantly, seem to want a life in which everything is like Mary Poppins, and you take a spoonful of sugar and the medicine goes down and everything is easy. And no one ever disagrees. They seem to want a life in which no one ever has a different opinion than theirs. Everyone loves them exactly the way they want, on schedule. They always have everything that they want at the drop of a hat. And what I notice is there are a lot of very handsome, young, talented, successful, rich people who are absolutely miserable. Isn't that great? I love that. It gives me great hope. Do you really want a life of no problems? What would your life be like if it was not actually, if your experience with life was not in any way determined by circumstance? Ramana Maharshi died of bone cancer, and it took 4 years to do it, and he had an ecstatic smile on his face and radiated divine love through the whole experience. And bone cancer is one of the most painful things, and this was like in the 1930s when they did not have the medicines they have today. Died of bone cancer, 4 years, with a beatific smile on his face. Okay, that's a high bar, but still. So many people live in fear of death. Don't worry, I'm almost near the end. Okay. So many people live in fear of death, right? That usually is the big kahuna. After all, birth and death are the biggest changes we can experience on this plane of life. Birth and death. What a difference would it make if your consciousness about death was, I'm here, and then I'm not here. That's all it is. I'm here, and then I'm not here. I'm somewhere else. This is great, and that's going to be great. Take a deep breath. Let me say that again. This is an option. Talk about rewriting your script about death. I'm here, and then I'm somewhere else. And this is great, and that's also great. How would that change your experience of life? Something to think about. I don't claim to be super enlightened, although I am grateful for all the things that I've learned living the science of mind. I have a wonderful life, and science of mind has really contributed to my experience of having a wonderful life. And I often think about death, and it's a very clarifying and helpful thought. It keeps me so grateful for life. And I just do not take life for granted. I really don't. Because I could, I could walk out of that lobby and drop. And that's okay. But knowing that it could end, I'm like, let me just taste it all, let me enjoy it, and that's why I so love to greet people and smile at people and encourage people and hug people and think well of people and pray for people and have fun with people for as long as I'm here. And then I don't know, I guess I'm going to be floating in clouds with wings and playing the harp. Whatever, it's going to be great. I got to tell you a little tiny story, and then I'm really done. And you guys have been so patient. So this is a story about how easy it is to become attached. Okay, so will you reach into my jacket and grab my sunglasses? All right. So as has been established, I'm horribly vain. Okay, and I'm really into glasses. I have a bunch of different eyeglasses, and I'm also into sunglasses because the older I get, the more it's in one of these pockets. The older I get, the more my eyes are. Thank you, Joyce. I'm more sensitive to light, so I always have to wear sunglasses. And so I got these sunglasses. And I have double prescription sunglasses. Come on. Right? Come on. Killer. Right? Okay. So I'm packing for this last week. I was just on a vacation and I was packing for it. And I always pack sunglasses and backup sunglasses, eyeglasses and backup eyeglasses. And I also swim every day, so swim goggles and backup swim goggles. So I have to have 6 pieces of eyewear every time I go on a trip. Okay, so I packed. We're about to get in the car to go to the airport, and I can't find these. I found my backup sunglasses. I can't find these. These are the ones I wear all the time. I go through every pocket of every jacket, every vest pocket of every suit, every inside pocket, every weird place in the house I possibly can. Scour the car, dig around under the seats, all around in there. Maybe we've got in the back. Maybe we've got 15 reusable grocery bags. Go through every bag. Cannot find these glasses. I am like, oh my God, I am so irresponsible. These things cost a lot of money and I love them. I can't believe I'm going to Florida and I'm not going to get to wear my favorite sunglasses. It was like a huge tragedy. We get to the airport. We're in the security line and I have my luggage. I have a backpack and I have this great little backpack and it has a million little cubbies and I'm standing there and I'm like, And I open the backpack, and there's this little zipper pouch at the top of the backpack, and they're right there. And my mood brightened so incredibly. I went from like, oh, you're such a loser, to, oh, it's going to be a great trip. And that's just one tiny example of how we can allow material circumstances to cloud or color our enjoyment of life. Because after all, what is this? It's a piece of plastic. Well, it's 5 pieces of plastic. It's so easy to become attached to memories, to sensations, to habits, to props, to crutches, to addictions, to ideas, belief, and opinions. Right? We're all attached to all these things that prop us up and protect us and tell us this is who we are. It's very natural, it's very human. And yet, as we are looking this month at a new year and new beginnings, it's very wise, it's very spiritual, and it's very practical to remember that it's all just changing circumstance. It's all just stuff spinning around on this merry-go-round. The merry-go-round goes round and round while we straws float down the river to the ocean. One way or the other, your experience of life can be one of constant complaint or constant amazement, and you decide. So let's take a deep breath. I'm going to ask you to take out, if you have it, you should have a prayer request card. Don't ever pass up an opportunity to put in a prayer request and have somebody know the truth for and with you. And if you fill out the prayer request card, people will pray for you and pray with you and know the truth for you. And I'm going to just do a little brief prayer as we get ready for another wonderful song. So let's just take this moment. So I bless it all. I bless the center post, the infinite everlasting, that which is never changing, which is the source, and the creative impulse that set all of this magnificent change in motion. I bless it over the millions and millions of years and the billions of light years. I bless it in its vastness, and yet I also bless the fact that it is absolutely specific to me. And I know that the combination of that which is never changing and that which is constantly changing is a brilliant and genius, poetic act of creation that blesses all of us and each of us in every possible way. I give thanks that we, as creators, have the power to write and then rewrite again the story that we are living. And I bless the stories that we are living, and I bless the fact that they are so different from one another. And I bless that we are all straws, that we're going down and winding up in the same great ocean of love. I bless that ocean of love that carries us as we come into this incarnation and as we head out of it again. And I bless every moment of freedom from attachment and liberation from limiting ideas and belief that would diminish who we are and what we can experience. God is so good. Life is good. All is well. And so it is.
And no regrets, I still believe in the time just flies. How love can go from warm hellos to sad goodbyes, but leave you with the memories we memorize to keep your winters warm. But there's no yes in yesterday, and who knows what tomorrow brings or takes away. And even though I've played this game, I'm gonna stay for laughs, for life, for love. So here's to life and all the joy it brings. Yes, here's to life, the dreamers and their dreams. May all your storms be weathered, and all that's good get better. Here's to life, here's to love, here's to you. May all your storms be weathered, and all that's good get better. Here's to life, here's to love, here's to you.
Thank you so much, Second Shot and Joan Penny. That was beautiful. Let's give them another round of applause. All right, so it is that time in our service where we focus on our giving and our receiving. So if you have not already done so, please take a moment to complete your prayer request card. And note that on the back of those cards, there is a spot for demonstrations. So if you've had something you'd like to share with us, you know, some intention that manifested, please share it with us. We love to hear about those wonderful experiences. So yes, so once you've completed those, yes. Once you've completed those, you can move on to your gift for Genesis Center for Spiritual Living. So please remember that the center is supported by God, but we welcome you to be part of that support. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, there is a place where you can go on and do your offering as well. So let us take a moment to finish that while we have some music. So if you are willing and would like to, feel free to hold your prayers and your gifts to your heart as we say our gratitude prayer together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that receive, and I am thankful. And now Gideon will come around and collect our gifts as we sing our abundance song.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my joy, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
I'd just like to express my gratitude for all these gifts, my gratitude for all of these prayers, my gratitude for the practitioners who will keep each and every one of these prayers in our hearts, knowing the best for this congregation and everybody in our community and the world. With that, I release these words into that law. I say, yes, yes, thank you, God, and so it is. So thank you everyone for joining us today, those of you online and those of you here on the Carco Theatre. But let us go ahead and stand up one last time as we sing our closing song together.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only for God. No more struggle, no more strife. My faith I see light, and I'm free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only for God. No more struggle, no more strife. My faith I see light, and I'm free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only for God. No more struggle, no more strife. My faith I see light, and I'm free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only for God, and I'm free in the Spirit, and I'm only for God. I am free in the Spirit, and I'm only for God.
Have a great week, Genesis.